Okay.
Hey man, how you doing? You look really vibrantly colored and
I
healthy.
see that. It's weird.
I look pretty sickly.
Meh.
I like I'm like the blue shift and you're the red shift.
You want me to turn off my light? Maybe it'll make me.
No, no, I love
That's better.
okay.
No, it's just the same. Exactly. It's this light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
no, I mean now I think it was better. Maybe turn on the there we go. Well, I
Normal.
mean, you don't
Okay.
want to point at the screen. What did you have the second option? Like turn those off and then you had which there we go. Yeah, that's I mean, you never want to have lights pointing right at a camera. Great. I'm
How you doing?
doing okay. Let's see. First thing, oh, yeah, hmm. Oh yeah, the first thing that jumped to my mind. You sent me that Pat Martino link.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you
Pat Martino.
say see if there was some other example? He seemed like a what was the song? It was Impressions, right? What do you know what the year was or the album?
No, I mean I could find out. Hang on.
Um,
Let me look at it.
I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I mean, well, I mean, it's like he's a good guitarist, and I see how he's inspiring other people, but I to me it seemed like kind of like Freddie Hubbard or Keith Carlock, just like a machine gun guitar, like you know what I'm saying? It seemed like he wasn't really um um like there wasn't much dynamic stuff going on or whatever. I mean, but that's really I actually haven't listened to a lot of Pat Martino, so
Well, I think that okay, let me back up by saying, I don't know if you remember this, but Pam Pride, remember her?
oh yeah. Yeah, she
Okay.
likes a lot of my posts on Facebook and stuff. I'll be sure
Okay.
whenever this goes live, I'll be sure to tag her in it.
Okay,
What do
cool.
you got to say?
Well, Possum, we remember when Possum lived with me in Fort Worth and we would play
Yeah, yeah,
gigs and
yeah.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's the time that I met Pam Pride, right? I mean, just
Yeah.
she had Pam's place and all that stuff. So, I was trying to get a gig from her, at her place and all that. And then eventually it was before I had played anything, and probably she had to, but she was just resistant to like give, I don't know, she just had a thing where she just wouldn't give us a gig. But um I got it, so me and Possum started playing there, and then later on she came up to me, like after I'd met her, but then a few weeks later or something, she came up to me and she was like, so Dave, look, the reason I didn't, I don't really like, I didn't want to give you a gig and all that stuff is I don't think drums have any place in jazz.
Wow. Okay.
And I said, wow, Pam, that is crazy because I don't think vocals have any place in jazz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
We laughed about it. I mean, we laughed about it, but I like the honesty. And of course, all that is to say that guitar definitely doesn't have a place in jazz. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Oh yeah. I mean, let
with a
just interject real quick. No, I don't want to derail your story, but I think I was mentioning to you yesterday that I mean the only guitarist that I feel like I mean I haven't listened to every guitarist, haven't explored every guitarist material, jazz guitarist, but I feel like Wes Montgomery's the only guy that I want to hear play jazz, in a traditional setting. You talk about fusion or offshoot stuff. Guitar is fine, but and I think I mentioned yes when we were talking on the phone yesterday that he's just like a piano playing guitarist or something, and
Yeah, I mean, he transcends the instrument for sure. And I don't think, yeah, Pat Martino or anybody else really does. So whenever I listen to it, I try to listen to it at the Pat Martino stuff, like as if I'm a guitar player or something, like because I think it's the melodic, the harmonic interpretation of stuff that Pat Martino in particular is good at. But still, I mean, it's like,
Yeah, I hear what you're talking about. It's almost like, I mean, just from that, like I said, I haven't listened to a bunch of Pat Martino stuff, but just from that clip, it reminded me of elements of like if you took it to the extreme, like Alan Holdsworth a bit. I mean,
yeah.
not that they're in the same thing, but I
Well,
mean,
no, but I mean,
the
yeah,
way
yeah,
he's kind of
I hear
extending harmonies, it kind of I just got a little thing of it,
a little taste of it.
taste
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Anyway, I try to listen to it like I was Milton or somebody, just like, you know,
And
a
we
music
should say that, you're talking about your friend Possum. So you guys went to Berkeley together, and he's a piano player, jazz pianist, but then he ended up what he,
being a producer.
yeah,
Right.
in
J.R.
LA.
Rodham is his real name.
What's that?
J.R. Rodham is his real name.
That's right. Yeah. Who's he
Jonathan.
produced? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you told me once upon a time, but
Oh,
I mean,
forget
didn't he do a Britney
Sean.
Spears track or something? Or
Yeah. And and I forget the people's names right now, but just younger R&B or type of stuff or something.
do you keep up with him at all?
Oh, I got it. Jason Derulo. Jason Derulo and uh Sean Kingston. Do I keep up with him sometime? I mean, like, I talked to him about 5 months ago or something.
Hmm. Do you? Yeah, we should put a link to something of it. I mean, if he has like a live in the studio or like a beat making video or something.
I'm sure, and I know he
You
does.
send me one.
I don't know how recent that stuff is, but yeah,
Should put a
for
link
sure.
in the description. And then you mentioned Milton, which is who I've met, and yeah. So I mean, he's obviously a guitarist you went to Berkeley with, and was he your
Right.
roommate as well? I mean,
Yeah, he was my roommate.
yeah.
Uh it was completely by chance, but you know, what a great, partnership that became, you know.
Man,
Can
I
you hear me?
completely. I was like trying to give like weird shout outs, and then I just derailed the conversation about about guitar and jazz. You were
Oh,
okay. So
well,
Pat Martino, yeah.
yeah, I mean it's still the wrong instrument.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But we'll take it. We'll do a gig with it with a guitarist. And
Well,
you
I
can
know.
enjoy it.
I know it. Well, you know what it's like to me, is it's like when you hire, a bass player to play a gig and stuff, and he shows up and he's your favorite bass player and stuff. And he shows up with an electric, and you're like,
Yeah.
what happened? It's not that I want,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's that thing. It's that
Totally.
thing.
Um,
Guitar, hey, guitar player, go home and get your piano and come back.
yeah. Oh God. Um, how did the thing end up with Pam? I mean, like, okay, so you guys joked about that, and then but she was like just like kind of got on board with it, and then you were buddies.
So so she gave us a weekly gig or something, and it was awesome. That's where I met Damon too. Like that
Oh,
was around
okay.
that same time. Like I don't know, I don't know. I just remember playing at Pam's with him. But we'd have our gigs, and it went off well. It just people started coming and getting into it and stuff. And so a few gigs in, she was like, would, she'd come out and sit in and just sing a couple songs. You know, she just did that with everybody every time she wanted to. So after a couple times of her sitting in is when, like, maybe the third time after that gig, she made her confession. She was like,
Yeah.
she
She was
was
like,
like, the reason I didn't
yeah.
want that is because I didn't want any drums playing, with jazz. It didn't compute to me, but
Yeah.
she gave me the you're the exception. But really, I think it was more that I changed her tune about, drums being in jazz.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean, your playing is kind of, I mean, in a way, it's kind of like, how to describe it? Like kind of, I don't want to say loop based, but I mean, it's like you kind of find a groove and then just kind of like keep it going, and it seems like,
oh
you know,
god, I
just
you said loop, right?
yeah, loop.
I
What did you
I,
gonna
I
say?
was like, I thought you said loot. And I was like, where is he, man? How is he gonna say that
Oh
my
man. Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
And and I don't know. Yeah, and I remember. I mean, I was just imagining that you probably played a lot of brushes there, and and I like your brush technique on the in the snare and the drum kit and everything. And so, I don't know if that maybe you just did sticks the whole time, but I could imagine her like enjoying, just like thinking, wow, I mean, I guess it kind of like I want to say like Ahmad Jamal's. I don't know who Ahmad Jamal's drummer was, but
Vernell
just
Fournier, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Um,
exactly that's who I always listen to for brushes and other things. Like, on the Poinciana thing,
yeah.
he's using the back of the brush, that
Hmm.
the little round butt of
Yeah, the
metal,
ring. Yeah.
the ring thing, and then his other hand, he's got a mallet, and it just sounds so cool.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
yeah, I can imagine her just kind of like falling for that and winning her over with the drums, if that's what you did.
maybe, I mean, I'm sure I probably always am the same, but I like, I mean, I like brushes, but a lot of the reason that I like it is so that you can switch to six when it gets to the
Yeah.
point
For the relief
where
of
yeah, okay, we've all had enough. We've all had enough of the brush crap.
oh man. Yeah. So yeah, she's cool though. I mean, I didn't have like a lot of one-on-one, or we didn't interact very much like back in the day. I mean, we were in the same places. I saw her. I mean, she probably didn't even know who I was or whatever, but we became Facebook friends, just like one of those random things. And then, I mean, she's just been real, like, she'll, on one of my, like, I hate John Coltrane's playing posts, she'll like it, or heart it, or something like that. I mean, she seems to enjoy
She gets it.
something about my posts, which is I noticed, but she seems cool.
Man, I mean, yeah, and just the fact that she told me that and we had that conversation is she just as feisty as they come, and opinionated, but in a good way, because she knows it and she'll expose it like she did to me. To me, it takes balls to say that,
Yeah.
like, oh, the reason I didn't want to give you a gig is because drums have no place in jazz,
That's
period.
great. That's great. Yeah, and then I guess there's like the whole guitar tone thing. I mean, it's like the rolled off
Oh
highs,
man,
the mushy rolled off highs versus I mean your longtime buddy Clint Strong, who's got that real like strong guitar tone and sound, which sounds great with doing jazz, if you
did
gotta
you
have
get that? Reminds me of, yeah, I mean, I agree. Abercrombie and, is that his name? Hal Holdsworth.
yeah, Yeah.
Abercrombie and Fitch, and Schofield.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the guys that I'm like, um, I don't know. It's probably good. I don't know. Can you please take your amp out of the below water so I can find out?
Yeah. Would you,
So
you know,
I
please don't bring a kiddie pool to the next gig,
so yeah, a kid. It's like a huge Ziploc bag to put the amp in, and then submerge it in water and somehow mic the bubbles. Is that the sound you were
Um,
looking for,
yeah.
sir?
Uh, um, yeah, but we were listening to, you sent me a few links to Clint's stuff recently. It sounded really good. I mean, it just, he's just got a kind of a bravado about his playing going on that just kind of, I don't know, it's almost like, you just like a cowboy shows up with a lasso and and a guitar. Such a
Yeah.
thing.
Did you get that picture? I went to
Did.
visit him yesterday. Okay,
Yeah.
and
How's he
the
looked good.
reason
I
it,
mean, for being in a hospital bed.
yeah, I mean it was fun. I stuck him in a wheelchair and we went like riding around. You know, he wanted to go riding around the parking lot and stuff. Uh, and I strapped headphones on him and me, and we listened to some fun stuff. Yeah, but he's doing fine. Oh, and what I sent you first was a thing that it was a video of him saying, he said, we used to play a lot of jazz together. Let's send this to our friends. And I sent it to you, you know,
Oh
uh,
yeah, I've got this
but
stupid.
you
Yeah,
don't get the videos. So I just took a screenshot of it. Anyway, he's doing fine
cool.
for his, situation and all.
Yeah, which
I
is.
meant to ask him a couple questions about the stuff we've been wondering lately. Uh,
I wonder
but
if you
I,
asked him if guitar has a place in jazz. If you'd like, amusingly say no, but I can't help doing it or something like that.
oops. It's an oops. I'll ask him that sometime.
Good.
But yeah, I think I saw one of those three guitar players when I was in Boston, and whichever, I don't remember which one it was, but the drummer was Bob Moses. You know who that is?
I do. I don't have a lot of. I mean, I have a bad, like, my instinct, my gut tells me that I'm not going to like him, but I haven't, and I've probably heard him, but I just don't. I don't know. Yeah. Tell me.
All I remember, if I'm thinking of it right, is that like he plays with like who's that bass player for Tony Levin?
Yeah.
Tony Levin plays with
Funk
tongs.
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, tong fingers. Well, so does Bob Moses. So does Bob Moses. He plays with like little tongs or something. I was just I don't know. It just, I knew I didn't like Alan Abercrombie or whoever the guitar player was. But all the drummers were talking
Yeah.
about Bob Moses' playing. And I went, I was like, it's like, okay, you guys are telling me go see this drummer, but then it's like a percussionist. Or something, it's not a drum, it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I had to say. I think I might have left. I mean, like walked out. Yeah. So,
Man. You
man,
know what?
I thought there was gonna be a drummer.
Man, speaking of that and referring to going back to what we should, I mean, it'd be funny if a natural thing, a whole video comes up about him. But speaking of walked out, I mean, we walked out of a concert we were really wanted to go, that we really wanted to see, which was Steely Dan. It was like 2014 or something.
Tell the story as if I don't know it,
Well, no, yeah,
because
so we go to this we went to the concert, obviously, and
what year was that?
pumped. I want to say 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, or 15. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, they came to town. Steely Dan came to town, and we were excited. Had we already gone to see them once before that?
Yeah.
We'd already seen them where we sat in the Don Henley box seats, right?
Oh, I thought that was the time. I was
Oh,
gonna say the Don Henley.
mm, yeah. Either way, either way,
Anyway,
I think it was the next time. Yeah,
okay.
it was a real bleak vibe, and yeah. So and then we were listening to the drummer, and it was just like, dude, this guy, I mean, it's just like monodynamic, just like playing the same fill licks, and just like dominant, it's just like feel like it was like Steely Dan, featuring, this drumline guy, and so, we just like got so irritated. It just felt like he was ruining the songs. And so I guess we just went to the bar and just had a couple drinks, and then you're like, man, you just want to go. I said, yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit about seeing the rest of this concert. And so we left, and then went back to Fort Worth. And
This is the good part.
yeah, the good part, we went to the Salsa Limon taco stand, got some great burritos and habanero sauce, and then noticed there's a well, not a homeless guy, but some kind of street
He
musician.
looked homelessy. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a dog, and some weird things going on, but yeah, just like a big Casio keyboard set up, and and what was he playing while we were sitting eating burritos? Started doing Steely Dan songs, and it sounded so much better than they
It
were
was
doing.
crazy.
I mean, it
It
was
was
more
crazy.
charming than it was. It had a something about it. I mean, maybe it wasn't like yeah, we enjoyed it more.
Well, eh, right. And I mean, that was amazing that that happened this right after we walked out of the Steely Dan
I know. Yeah, it was great.
thing.
And I
But
think we talked to him about it too. We were like, we're trying to tell
yeah,
him
we
he didn't
told
give a
him
shit. He was like,
no.
like, no, please, just so you're so awesome, and they sucked, whatever.
Well, and oh, do you remember what? Okay, so I mean, my thing was this. I didn't think that the drummers, I didn't think it was terrible. It was just something wasn't, well, I did, but it was like but he's playing all the right things. I mean, that's the thing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I mean, he's functional.
he's
I
playing
mean, so we're exaggerating the yeah.
yeah, I mean, he's playing all the right things. It just wasn't right. Do you remember what I said my doctor's prescription
No,
was?
what? I can't remember. I mean, I'll remember when you start talking about it.
You will. Yeah, I said, man, he just needs a really horrible, heroin addiction for a few years,
Yeah.
clean, and then he gets clean, and then his playing is going to be great.
Oh man,
He,
I hope
I
that
mean,
wasn't. I hope that what actually wasn't the case, and still,
no, but
yeah, it's no good.
I mean, but there's something that needed to be deeper about it, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I mean, and then I didn't really like. I didn't. His name was not on my radar at that point. I just was like, this fucking sucks, um, and then I guess a few years later, it started kind of filtering in. Like I started hearing the name Keith Carlock, and um, his name was coming up, and then it was like, oh, that was the guy who's playing with Steely Dan. Um, and then I just started watching videos, and it's like what do people see in this guy? I mean, it's like I'd rather watch. I think I made a post like sometime in the last year where I just was referencing him, and I said something like, if I were making some kind of album, um, and I needed some kind of part, I'd rather like just grab some 10-year-old girl off the street. No, that sounded bad. I mean, I love to get in a windowless white van and just like pull some girl. No,
Oh man.
if there was some situation where
Dude,
it
okay.
can't get any better.
I know, and I gotta butt in
Yeah.
because do you remember when me and Daniel used to used to call your shades molester shades?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Back in the
you
late
used
'90s, I
to
had those what were they? What were the shades I was wearing? That I don't know.
I,
There's I don't know. It was
anyway.
they weren't like Ray Bans or aviators particularly. It was something, but
No, but it was the ones that you would wear in the windowless white van for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, that was, and on a side note, that was fun. I remember you guys were playing a lot of tennis at the time. It was like late '90s. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And we played
97. I want to
tennis.
say it was like 97, 98 or something. And then playing a lot of tennis.
Yeah,
And I would dress, you're like, hey, you want to come hang out with us while we're playing tennis. And so I would get dressed, I would try to dress like a, like a creep, and then just like stand outside the fence, and talk to you guys, try to hit you guys up. I basically like use dialogue. Like I remember there's that Different Strokes episode, the child molester episode,
oh, I remember it. Yeah.
yeah, with the guys like lured in with pizza and watching movies and stuff. And so I would just like say that kind of thing to you and Daniel. That was a fun period.
Do you guys like pizza and cokes and stuff?
Hey, it was those tennis courts right next to the apartment complex, and so I was like, yeah, my apartment's right over there, guys. Anyway,
We
but
play video
back,
games. That's what you used to say. We can go over there and play video games
yeah.
and have pizza and
Um,
stuff.
but okay, let's just remove the whole like how the 10-year-old girl gets there. But I'd say I'd rather use like train a 10-year-old girl to play a part, take a month and show her how to play parts for a recording than hire Keith Carlock to do it, in one swoop and or whatever. I mean, it's just like because it'd be so much more charming. It just like has no character. I mean, his character, it just seems like just no character, no charm. I mean, and then he's just like you look up these videos and he's just doing that same. How does this? Do you remember his signature fill that he does? I
I
mean,
don't.
it's some
You've
kind of
talked about
roll
it.
off the toms
You've
onto the snare, but it's like backward or something, right?
yeah. That's
Uh,
it's something like that. It's
like
something
a
like that. I
double or
know it
triple
when it's
stroke thing, but yeah, whatever it is, I should go back and check it out. But man,
wait, I got a question
yeah,
though. I was just thinking this, like, okay, so we saw them twice, and it seems like the second time for sure was without Walter Becker. He died.
he was not dead. Are you
Was
for
he there?
yeah,
No.
yeah, he was there. He had not died yet. I think you went to go see Steely Dan with somebody else, like after he
After.
yeah, after he
Okay, okay. All right. Well, that wasn't it then. I was just thinking like
yeah.
maybe that was part of the reason that
Oh, you know what I remembered though is that I started feeling okay. So I will say that I do like that Steely Dan album, Everything Must Go, which he plays on. And that's like, Steely Dan fans, that's their least favorite Steely Dan album, but I for some reason I like the tunes on it. And I guess his playing the way the tunes are in the recording, I mean, for whatever reason, I can tolerate it. But um I was reading about him, and the gigs he played, who he lined up with to do gigs with, and I saw that he had played with Toto for a while. And I was like, and it was around the time that we went to go see Toto with Michael.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And so I got nervous. I was like, holy shit, was that because I was just like dancing like a fool, and I was just like, getting drunk. And I mean, I was just because they played the whole um Hydra album, which is their second album, which is great. And I was freaking out about it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy that gig too much. I thought I was gonna enjoy Michael McDonald more, but he was actually kind of like a downer for some reason, and Toto was great. Anyway, so I was like, holy shit, did I just totally love Keith Carlock in that gig? And so I did it, I dove into like the tour dates and stuff. and I think he had played with them and then couldn't do it for 2 months, and they got some other guy, and then he picked back up with them like a month, or a couple weeks after that gig we saw. So it's like,
Yeah, no, no,
what a
no.
hypocrite.
Well, I remember during that gig thinking that it was gonna be him,
Oh,
but it wasn't, and I don't remember who it was. I mean, I don't.
yeah, it was
It was
some
like a no
guy.
name, no
Uh,
namer.
yeah, I can't remember his name, but um,
Dang,
anyway.
it stinks though how that room at the Windstar just it's just a bad room for acoustics. I think it's a different one now. But I remember walking around during that thing, like to try to get to a play, to try to get to a part of the room that sounded better or something.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I kind of stayed in the same place, and I was digging it, but I see what you mean. It's like that seems like a good room for like a mega church um sermon, or like a graduation, like a massive graduation.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not really for, I guess they just
Yeah.
working with what they had.
Anyway, I don't know the drummer for the Toto thing. It's
I looked him
crazy.
up, and he, I mean, I watched a couple videos of his, and he just seemed, I mean, I liked it. I didn't love him, but
Who was it? Do you remember?
no, I can't remember his name. I mean, maybe somebody, if we put this video up, which it seems like we are, um, then
Somebody else
one of
tell
our
us.
friends can comment and tell us who it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he was great. He was functional. Didn't, I mean, I no problems with him or whatever. Didn't feel like I wanted to walk out, um, or whatever. But yeah, he's yeah, it's crazy. It's just it's crazy. I mean, I wonder, it makes you wonder. I mean, I wonder if he's like charismatic, and if that's what kind of carries him. Because I noticed, when I used to tour a lot, um, doing my solo thing 20 years ago, I noticed that I would kind of like go through these towns and play with these bands, and I was just like, man, I don't know, they don't sound that great, but people just fucking love them, and it's then you start interacting with them, and they're just like really great guys, they're like fun to party, and that's what I realized, like, oh, they're the party band, that people are excited because, and they would talk about touring a lot, and it seemed like they were successful in that, and that's to me, it was like, okay, so it's like the charisma factor.
Well, and first of all, I gotta go whiz, and I can't hold it in anymore. So I'm just gonna tell you while I go, but
Okay.
uh, because we're in my, I gotta go.
You're fading out. Can you speak up?
Oh, dang.
Oh, I mean, I can understand you a little bit.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you already whiz?
No, I can hear you. Can you not hear me now?
I mean, I can hear you. It's just you're just getting a little faint. Yeah, just talk. We'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, kind of,
Yeah, no, we're not hearing you. And you know what I realized? I think the deal, you're using, I think it's because you're using your phone, right? Well, I can't see what you said, but I think that when you use the phone, it has some kind of like a distance clip, or like a limiting thing, that kind of proximity thing where it or volume level you have to reach before it starts picking up a signal, whereas the laptop probably picks up anything, or maybe has a better limiting effect on it. Did you hear anything I said?
I heard everything that you said, but I'm using my computer.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it
And
was
it
weird.
shouldn't
Okay, so what
it
happened
shouldn't
was
do
you
that because I
started.
have an earpiece in.
Oh, well, okay.
I
So
don't
when you
understand.
started walking away, it's yeah, 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 uh, it,
I got you.
something
Well,
like that.
he can read, like he can read right. He can read anything that's put in front of him is why, you know, like there's no probably rehearsal time and any of that stuff necessary. So it's just like thumbs up, but then they realize they don't, but they should, you know, realize, oh yeah, I mean he's playing it, it's all perfect, but somehow it doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
mean
mean,
it
it kind of
just
goes to what you were saying with Billy Cobham the other day, where, you just want some kind of like textural, you just want to hear some like whacks that are not like whacking 100% of the time.
right. I mean, but and what it comes down to is this. I want to hear either mistakes or almost mistakes because you're going for something that is out of the comfort zone. You know what I mean? So whatever that, it doesn't matter what the level of the player is. It matters that they're like, you know, on the edge. They're on the edge of it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know though, because you know, Vinny Colaiuta and Weckl, they
I don't know. Like I said, I think I said in the last video, which we haven't uploaded yet, but his Weckl for me, I just feel like he seemed, even though I know what you mean, it seems like his drumming is compressed sounding or limited or just kind of it's still I'm still hearing like textures and dynamics within that somehow, even though it's compressed.
yeah.
And same with Kaliuta, I mean he's powerful. I was actually watching and we're about to run out of time, but I was watching it something popped up in my feed. It was the Breakfast with Vinny thing. Have you watched any of those?
Mm.
It's I guess he has a YouTube channel, which was interesting. I mean, this would be a whole other thing. I guess I've never heard him talk. And he has kind of like a whiny voice, which was interesting. And he had a hard time. He was interviewing Bill Bruford, which is great. And so the first 5 minutes is just them kind of, there's some funny fumbles, on both their parts. Kaliuta was trying to set up a question, but it's like it took him 3 minutes to set it up, and you were like, is Bill going to get a chance to answer or whatever? And then he does, and answers in his signature way. But anyway, we're about to run out of time. Yeah, so guitarists, anything to say about their place in jazz? Yeah, we said it. We should just shut it off, right?
Wes Montgomery, Grant Green, he's one that I for some reason I've you know, he gets a pass.
You know what? Oh, thanks for reminding me. George Benson. I actually love George Benson's playing, but to me that it kind of, even though it's jazzy, it kind of falls out of like a traditional jazz setting.
Yeah.
I used to listen to that Weekend in LA album a lot when I was like uh, doing the music before my first solo album. There's a big influence, but and when I hear him play, it sounds great, but yeah, it's kind of a different thing. Anyway, hey, good talking to you, man.
Yeah, man, you too.
And I'll
All
talk to
right,
you in a second.
later.